Greetings, this is the latest from Mckoys News Center. A body, believed to be that of a kidnapped bartender, has been discovered in Clarendon. In Clarendon, Jamaica, on a Friday afternoon, a woman's partially unclothed body, believed to have been kidnapped, was discovered in an open area at gravel ground. Authorities suspect that the victim is 22-year-old Yashika Segree, also known as Yush or Shorty, who worked as a bartender in the site district of Trelawney. Segree was allegedly abducted on Wednesday, October 4, 2023, in the Coffles district of Clarendon. According to reports received by Mckoys News, residents came across the partially decomposed body around 3 p.m. and promptly alerted the police. Upon their arrival, law enforcement officers found the body in a partially nude and decomposed state. It measured approximately 4 feet 2 inches in length, and the individual had Indian heritage. The victim was wearing black shorts and yellow underwear, which were pulled down her legs. The body was discovered lying face down in an open area, displaying apparent gunshot wounds on the legs and scratches on the upper part of the body. The crime scene was thoroughly processed, and the body was subsequently removed. Dreadful twist in Paulwell baby's case as mother's abduction unfolds. Leota Bradshaw, the mother of one of Philip Paulwell's children, is facing multiple charges in connection with the abduction and suspected murder of another of his intimate partners, 27-year-old Tashina Patterson and her 10-month-old daughter Saria Paulwell, the police said on Friday. At the same time, widely reported claims that 2 burnt bodies were found in the Rockford area of Kingston Friday afternoon have not been confirmed by the police up to press time. Bradshaw was taken into police custody late Thursday evening, and on Friday, Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey confirmed that she was a prime suspect in the abduction of the 2 and would face charges. He said 3 men, believed to have been involved in the abduction of Patterson and her daughter, have also been taken into custody, but it is Paulwell's longtime partner, Bradshaw, who works with a law enforcement agency in the United States, who Bailey was willing to name. "We think in the case of Ms. Bradshaw we have evidence that we could advance a case at this time, but we want to ensure that we cross every T and dot every I. And so, there are a number of things that are ongoing, and so we want to ensure that those have come to a conclusion before we proceed with the formal charging of her," DCP Bailey said in a video release from the Jamaica Constabulary Force. According to Bailey, the police are looking at charges of kidnapping, conspiracy to murder, and other charges against Bradshaw and the 3 men who are now in custody. "The evidence that we have is very strong, and we will allow the administrative procedures to be concluded before we make that determination, as there are legal issues that basically prevent us from saying much more," he said. "But I am convinced that we are on the right track. I'm convinced about the quality of evidence, about the potency of evidence. I'm convinced, when I look at the material, that the evidence we have garnered so far is very strong and can stand up to any scrutiny in any court of law," added Bailey as he commended the JCF members who are conducting the investigation. Bradshaw first commented of the abduction of Patterson and little Saria on Sunday, September 10th, in a media release and a subsequent interview with the Jamaica Observer in which she denied having anything to do with the disappearance of the 2. "The only interaction I have ever had with Ms. Patterson is through a brief Facebook exchange," Bradshaw said in the statement. "I have never spoken to her by phone, nor have I made any arrangements to meet with her. Any such reports in social media are lies and will be passed on to my lawyer for action to be taken in the days ahead. I have shared all information I have with the authorities, and I hope their investigation will lead to the safe return of Ms. Patterson and her baby girl," added Bradshaw. She later told the Observer that claims Patterson received a call from someone purporting to be her, and saying they wanted to meet the baby should be investigated. "I have never spoken to this young lady, we have never met. How do you pick up yourself would you meet with a stranger you don't know?" added Bradshaw, as she noted that reports were that Patterson was picked up in a gold van by a male driver who was wearing dark shades. "Why did you mention my name? My information was not public knowledge," added Bradshaw. In outlining the sequence of events surrounding Paulwell, the Member of Parliament for Kingston East and Port Royal who sits on the opposition benches in the legislature, Bradshaw said in May their 8-year-old daughter was sent sexually explicit photos which were later followed by email threats and extortion attempts. She said the matter was reported to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and the Broward County Sheriff's Department Internet Crimes Against Children in the U.S., which later reported the matter to the Jamaican authorities. The threats against our child continued for months as the authorities investigated, said Bradshaw. She added that on Sunday, September 3rd, an email was sent out making threats that personal information on Paulwell would be released to the public. They also made damning threats against our child, said Bradshaw. According to Bradshaw, on Tuesday, September 5th, she received an email indicating that Patterson had a child with Paulwell. I spoke to Philip and he confirmed that he had a brief relationship with Ms. Patterson and it is possible that the child was his. But he was not certain as a DNA test had not yet been done, said Bradshaw. This was the first time I was hearing about Ms. Patterson and the child, added Bradshaw. She said she sent Patterson a message on Facebook Messenger advising her that Paulwell had opened up to her about their involvement and the possibility that the child was his. I advised her that Philip and I would ensure the child is taken care of financially and a DNA test would be done to ensure that Philip was the father of the child. As can be seen from my exchanges with Ms. Patterson, there was no anger, but just a genuine wish to see that an innocent child is taken care of and not caught up between two parents no longer in a relationship, said Bradshaw. She added, I will continue to work with the local and U.S. authorities to get to the bottom of the threats against my family, in particular our young daughter. I will continue to pray for the safe return of Ms. Patterson and her baby and ask anyone with information to contact the police. Subscribe to Mckoys News for breaking news and updates.